in every medieval language. And it surprisingly is reintroduced at the very end of the 19th century. So I think this is a good point. But, and I don't know how much it does, but if your argument relies on the genealogy of officium, I think I would disagree with what you said earlier when you said that the 3rd century introduction of officium is now the entering of duty into the field of morality, and I would actually reverse it and say that it's actually, in the 3rd century, the entering of morality into the field of politics, since the officium was an office that had already been a Roman office for many centuries. So that's really all I have to say.
I perhaps don't get the point. No, it seems to me on the contrary. When Ambrosius writes this important book on the offices of the priest, and De Officiis Ministrorum, he has as a model Cicero. Cicero wrote a treatise on the offices. But in Latin common usages, officium was has a very large meaning and could refer to everything, not only to civil or religious activity, but for instance, the Romans spoke of the officium of a prostitute, because a prostitute officium meant what we expect that a person must do according to his social status. So, for instance, Cicero is clear, this is not an ethical concept. Cicero says this is not an ethical concept because it's a duty, but in this situation, let's say, according to the status you have. So, officium of a prostitute, of a cook. So it's very strange why Ambrosius took this term, but that's a huge question. But in doing that, as officium, as this implication of what we expect a man to do, his duty. It is, I think, absolutely true that in this way the officium, the duty, was introduced in ethics. And it's clear in Kant. Kant follows this tradition because he will put in the center of his ethics the notion of Pflicht. And Pflicht is the translation of officium. Every time you have officium in Latin, you will find the translation Pflicht. And we will even speak of a Tugendpflicht, monstrous conception. What is a Tugendpflicht, a duty of virtue? So I think that the fact that Kant received, stick to this, without perhaps being aware to this tradition, this doomed his ethics to fail.
Sorry, is anybody?
There is a one there.
Ah, yeah, sorry. Please.
Thank you very much. And I'm a bit worried this could be a naive question given the elegance of what you worked out. But Adam Seligman from Boston University is working with Derrida's concept of iterability.
Derrida concept of
Iterability.
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 Iterability,
Yes.
repetition, possibility of being repeated.
And then Judith Butler's performativity. To come up with an idea of ritual that is very much like the liturgy that you're presenting. And his project in that is to come up with a self or a subject or a formation of subjectivity that doesn't need to be unified. And it's against an idea of a sincere subject that would grow out of a Protestant background. I'm wondering if you could speak a bit about what happens, what would be another alternative to this ritualized or liturgized?
To this?
To the subject of liturgy. If we're, as you problematized it, with fascist implications, it seems the other option then is a sincere self, one who is, as you said, not separated between action and thought. Could you speak a little bit more about what that
I'm not sure that I got your second point, but let me make a joke on the first point. Derrida's iterability. Could we not see deconstruction as a kind of very peculiar liturgy in which a unique, absolutely unique instance is made iterable? It can be indefinitely repeated. What do you think, Kavita? It's a joke. Of course, it's a joke.
I am laughing.
But I didn't get the second point. Can you?
I'm not articulating it well. I guess you had posed when praxis was split from a morality, that this was something detrimental. I think I understood you to say that. And so then another option might be this.
Not because praxis. What then? Peculiar when duty was introduced. This was not practice. Not praxis. Liturgy is considered as a kind of praxis. Yes. But in the idea of officium, you have the idea that the main concept in political context is duty. This is what I criticize.
Yeah, Vital.
I have an absolutely minimalist question, which is, how do they know when a priest is joking or are there rules, and how do we know the liturgy isn't a joke, etc.?
Really strange. The only exception to the validity, absolute validity of sacramental praxis is the joke. But it's not really argumentative, so they just say this, there is no...
But is the joke, is that part of Christianity? I mean, try to say it nicely. Where is there a thinking of the joke?
And the reason is the contrary. If the joke is the only cause of invalidity,
Right.
something that must be excluded.
Right.
That to echo, to remember.
I can't remember, I never read it, that's all.
No, I don't do this philosophical stuff, but this book is the novel. Because that was the third treatise of Aristotle about laughter and joke. And the church did everything, including murder, not to let this be out into the public, so oppress it. Because they fear jokes more than anything, obviously. Yes, please.
I'll stand for you. Stand for you. Is there any hope? Now I'll finish my question. Given how tightly interwoven everything is, your analysis is mind-blowing, and the depth of it is mind-blowing.